Okay, how are we starting this? What's our topic? What's
What's
our issue of the day?
JJ the jet plane.
I don't know what that is.
It's like
Is that a real thing?
All the other podcasts are going for Batman and you're going for JJ the jet plane. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, that is exactly what's happening.
I know Thomas the Tank Engine. Are they related?
Well, JJ the jet plane is like scarier because it's like a human face on an airplane and it's like really bad CGI.
So that sounds like Thomas the Tank Engine.
But it's scarier. But I was just thinking about it because like those frames I was collecting near the end of the episode when like Demona is just flying around with like the freaking guy on her back.
Yeah. Oh, because she was like a jet.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, she was
I
like
get it.
T-posing.
That makes me think
She was
of
like an airplane.
Mystique from the X-Men, who we also joke can like turn into a jet whenever she wants to and just fly away, but like she just doesn't ever do that for some
Well,
reason.
what's stopping her?
That's what we're asking. We don't know. I feel like Mystique and Demona are very similar.
Yeah.
They're incredibly similar.
Yeah, there are similarities.
Like, not just because, like, they're both blue, but just, like, their attitude.
Is Demona blue?
What color is
What
she?
other color would she be?
Yeah, well, she's, like, bluish green, right?
She's like gray.
She's blue.
She's a redhead, though, and that's the important color on her.
Welcome to the
Welcome,
Loincloth
where we
hour.
don't know what color Demona is.
We're trying.
Welcome.
We're colorblind
I'm just-
here.
Yeah, we don't see color.
I just need to say that Mystique would be far more fascinating if she used her shapeshifting like Envy.
And turn into, like, well, how do you mean?
Like, Envy turned into, like, what, like 7 different animals?
Okay, but in X-Men Evolution, Mystique does turn into animals.
Yes.
We're talking about Envy from Fullmetal Alchemist, by the way, which we
guys-
just watched the live-action
You
movie
guys
of this
recently
past
went on a
weekend.
journey.
Yeah, so, like, I'm trying to, like, help the listeners be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Who is Envy? What is going on?
This is
I have a feeling most of our listeners are going to know who Envy is.
Probably.
yeah, like there's some Full Metal Alchemist fans that listen. I mean,
But yeah, like, I think that Mystique and Envy should, like, get together. Who's another, like, hot shapeshifter? Odo from Deep Space Nine. They can all have a convention and, like, shapeshift into each other and then, like, have weird, like, shapeshifty sex. I feel like that's what they do.
I wish I were a shapeshifter sometimes.
I'm, like, trying to think. There's Double Trouble, I guess. I don't
Double
know.
Trouble. Beautiful.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
There's like Ragnar.
There's our friend Ragnar,
Yeah.
who was on an episode of the podcast with us.
Yeah, his
Semi-recently.
OC is a shapeshifter.
But I don't think there are any shape changers in this episode, unless you count a certain character who is a statue for the entire thing.
Well, there
I mean,
was
a lot of people shifted between being statues and being...
Yeah,
Well,
if that counts as shape shifting.
there's a lot of TF in this show, and in this instance, you know, every human in New York City gets a taste of it. Where we last left off. So
before they turned into gargoyles once, and they all destroyed their shoes. Now they get to turn into statues and see like the other side of the gargoyle existence.
Yeah, the sleepy side where they're just like they turn
side.
into stone and they're just like, you know. Okay, so this is the Loincloth hour, and so in case we didn't already say that.
We did.
Welcome.
Welcome again.
Okay, so this is a podcast where we talk about cartoons.
I'm driving myself
And
fucking like
we
insane
talk about
right now. I'm trying to
mostly
follow this. Okay.
how gay they are. And there's 3 hosts. There's me, Manicorn,
And Sid.
And I'm here on...
and we are going to talk about City of Stone Part 2 today. An episode of Gargoyles. We're right in the thick of it now, in the City of Stone 4-parter. And this was a good episode.
This was a
I
good
liked
episode.
this episode. Like, even the Scottish shit, like, didn't annoy me this time. Because, like, I understood the plot this time. And I knew who all the characters were. Whereas last time, I felt like they name-dropped, like, 50 people. And I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, who are you talking about?
Like, I don't care about medieval politics.
Yeah, well, I cared about it this time. Because we got to see, like, Macbeth be hot.
Yeah, Macbeth is really hot in this episode. I took some notes on that, even though it's not really my criteria.
He's got nice legs in this episode.
Very nice. He flexes his calves, and he's like, not wearing any pants, so it's like, it's hot. Should we talk about how we split it?
Yeah, so we're doing things a little differently this episode. I was just feeling, like, slightly overwhelmed this week, so I asked Sid and Huron if they could help me out with covering the episode. So we're each taking a third this time. So Sid will be going first, and then Huron, and then myself. So yeah, I guess we can just jump in this episode.
I should warn you though, I took 5 pages worth of notes and like nearly 2,000 words.
You're just like me. You're
Yeah,
following
when
my
I'm-
footsteps.
when
I'm
I-
taking too many notes.
When I put my mind to it and I want to get shit done, like, I guess in this instance it was easier because I knew I was only doing like a third of the episode. So yeah, it helped a lot.
feel it's more like a bite-sized chunk. Although that said, like I know I was only supposed to cover a third of the episode. I still took notes on the entire thing anyway because I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. So
this is just how you are.
I'm just gonna jump in at random points and be like, and also this happened. So,
It's fine.
I'll be your backup dancer.
All right, so let me begin.
Previously,
I
on
should
Gargoyles.
warn you, I didn't take much notes on the recap.
Okay.
I usually don't care about the recaps because I already know what happened.
The only recap we did, it's all scenes from City of Stone Part 1 this time. And
But we just start with, like, seeing Elisa's stone face, and then they don't even acknowledge it.
yeah, they don't... I don't know why they start with that. Because, like, I don't know why. Then it's, like, a bunch of Dilton stuff. Like, we see his face get slashed.
My face!
Then he murders Macbeth's dad. We see the weird sisters who are like, oh, I'm so excited, sister, about, like, this fucked up shit that we're doing. And then we just see, like, Damona, like, on TV, speaking Latin. And the last thing is Xanatos is in the helicopter with Fox, and she's all like, your TV program sucks ass, David. I don't know why you're putting it on the air. And then she just turns to stone, and David's like, and that's how it...
Xanatos kind of gives a mild reaction to Fox turning to stone too. Like, okay, like he's just like, and then he immediately reaches down to like the pilot's throttle, like where like Fox's dick is and stuff to control like the helicopter velocity before they both crash and explode. He pushes the autopilot button, or I assume it's an autopilot button because they're all just mostly like bright little colors in a helicopter, to recover the helicopter velocity. Oh wait, I'm rereading a sentence. And relinquishes control right on time to land accordingly in a frozen city street.
Can I just point out that he's incredibly lucky that Fox had decided to take her hands off the controls while flying the helicopter.
Oh my god, I didn't even think
true.
of that.
Before she turned to stone.
Oh my gosh.
I also thought, like, just the animation looked very weird. Like, I felt like the helicopter, like, very implausibly, like, stopped falling, like, 5 feet above the ground, and then just, like, landed.
See, the only reason why they had it end the way it did before was because they wanted the cliffhanger, and now that they got the cliffhanger, they had to show, like, Xanatos recovering gracefully, which is, like, impossible in a situation like that. But
well, you know, he's used to pulling on things between his legs, so he did a pretty good job as far as that went.
I mean, my notes on the matter were, can helicopters even move like that?
I'm pretty sure they can.
They
but
can't.
Then again, like, gargoyles can only glide, and we see them doing feats all the time.
So they land in the New York City street, right in the middle of a crossroads like highway, which is usually very compacted and busy, but all the cars are just completely still, you know, as well as the people, since everyone's turned to stone. He sighs and remarks upon landing, any landing you can walk away from. And Fox then like looks over and remembers that she's stoned now.
Okay, but it looked like he was surprised, like, again.
Like I guess it all happened.
It's like
so
he already
fast.
saw her turn to stone, forgot about it, looked at her again, is like, wait a minute, you're stone. I'm like, Xanatos, like, you know this.
Oh, well, I mean, like, he just kind of takes that information in again, and then he's just like, at least she's not chipped.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
At least her boobies are still intact.
Like, her boobies, the perfect ratio she have. Like, they need to be preserved. If we can't save Fox, save the boobies. He exits the helicopter, shocked to see the entire New York City street pedestrians turn to stone. Pedestrians are in mid-stroll, drivers are just frozen and crashed into one another. Couples are frozen in the middle, consuming their meals at diners. birds landing on top of them as if they were just any other, like, gargoyle, you could
just
say.
Pooping on everybody's heads.
Mm-hmm. As we're given this imagery here, there are these illustrious harpist chords playing, kind of giving that whole whimsical fantasy vibe to tell us that there is magic taking place here. You know, how does that one radio hit go? In a New York minute, everything can change. If played during that scene in Friends where Ross holds hands with the monkey in the hospital, why did I write that down? What is wrong with me?
I don't
even know what you just said.
I don't know anything about Friends, other than that they're all gay. That's the only thing I know.
Okay, so, anyways, Xanatos is just taking the betrayal in stride, because he's used to this shit by now, stating that Demona and him need to have a little talk, quote unquote, and the way he says it gives the impression that he and Demona are gonna, like, hate fuck or something, but I don't think that's the case, at least not 100%. He pulls out a laser rifle and begins, like, pacing down the hauntingly silent city street, joking to himself, no sense in trying to get a cab.
Yes.
He's just constantly talking to himself in this scene. Like,
he needs to keep up this, because I feel like that's like his way of staving off panic. Probably is like I'll give like smart ass remarks, but I just thought it was so funny. He's like, Demona and I need to have a little talk, and the first thing he does is just pull out this massive gun from the helicopter.
This is just like
he's like, yeah, it's gonna be that kind of talk.
This is his coping mechanism for things not going according to plan. He's like, okay, I can make them according to plan again. Demona and I are gonna have a little talk.
Yeah, we just need plan.
He's gonna fix her wagon.
We just need plan D, E, and F to take care of this. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, so with that having happened, we crossfade back to the clock tower where the gang is not really shocked at the sight of Elisa turned to stone, but unfortunately, everyone there is a himbo and doesn't really understand the situation at hand.
They think someone just gave them a statue of Elisa.
Hudson
like,
just, like, mutters, I don't understand. Why would somebody give us a statue of Elisa? And then Lexington, like, scratches his chin examining it, commenting that it's a pretty good likeness for her. But, like, Brooklyn disagrees, just touching it, and examining her face, stating that the nose is all wrong.
He touches multiple statues.
Like, if you think, like, he copped a feel, like, I've always wanted to feel Elisa there, but now I have the opportunity, because this isn't her and just a statue, but it is her, so it's, like, weird.
Okay, I just have to read my own notes here, where they're wondering why someone gave them a statue of Elisa, and then I just write, they already have Coldstone's body to use as a blow-up doll. Why do they need a second one? They're like,
oh
what
my
is the
god!
purpose of this?
I can't believe that, like, they're blowing their loads into the Coldstone's just, like, comatose body. This is fucked up. Like, this reminds me of that scene in Always Sunny where, like, they're about to, like, take, like, the melon or the grapefruit or whatever Frank's been hiding in the safe.
And it's full of drugs.
It's full of, like, drugs, but then it's like, then he wants to eat it, and then, like, I wouldn't do that, Cricket. Like, it's full of my loads. Like, it's like that with Goliath, and he's like...
And Coldstone.
Coldstone, and then Hudson's just like, careful, Goliath, I've been blowing my loads into it.
God.
Like,
You'll need a thorough cleaning before
I'm
we
reaching
switch
some
him back
really
online.
fucked up, like, gay trifecta here, but you know what? It's gargoyles. This is what you signed
they
up
always
for.
leave Hudson behind, so what else is he gonna do?
What else is he going to do? He's gonna blow his loads into Coldstone's fucking blow-up doll ass. Like, he can't help it. He's a man.
He's a man.
This took a turn I wasn't expecting. Okay. Okay. Alright.
So I need to call out, though, that they're all like, why did someone give us a statue of Elisa? Like, who do you think... Okay, let's just assume someone gave you a statue. Who would it be? Only one person knows you live there.
Uh-huh.
They're himbos.
Like, I can see why they might think that, like, as a thing of, like, solidarity, while you're all statues, like, my statue will also be with you. Like, that's kind of cute.
Okay.
Like, I can see why they would think that.
Okay, so, while Brooklyn's feeling up this Elisa statue, Goliath, you know, being the most damaged out of the group, and usually expecting the worst possible outcome in any given situation, is already rubbing his chin, just like, okay, something is really fucking wrong here, uncertain and doubtful of just anyone else's, like, guesses. And then the vibe just starts to sour once he acknowledges that. Hudson starts calling around the area for Elisa to show herself. Like, come out and surprise us, like it's a party. And then Lexington's like, but she's not here, though. And then Bronx starts whining. And then...
But Bronx sees the most adorable tail wag.
Oh, he does.
That.
You're absolutely right. So Goliath is like, okay, none of this makes any sense, but I have a feeling I know what's up. We're gonna make sure nothing happens to this fucking statue. Broadway and Bronx, for some reason, are gonna be left on guard duty while we all, like, go out and we figure shit out.
Yeah, he's bringing Hudson with them for once.
Oh,
like,
but
Broadway
yeah.
gets to stay behind.
Broadway stays behind and Hudson goes with them. I guess it's like a narrative way of saying, like, you know, because we're gonna get Jeffrey Robbins.
They're gonna need Hudson for the next part.
Yeah.
Even if the gargoyles don't know that yet, so, like, it's fine. Broadway gets to use the blow-up doll today.
You know what? It's fine. Okay, so...
I mean, like, narratively it still makes some sense, because, like...
Because shit is real right
shit
now.
Is real.
Yeah,
shit's
getting real.
Yeah.
It's not like a normal patrol.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, we gotta go out, we gotta fuck shit up and figure this out. So they go to the balcony, and they're about to take off, and Lexington asks Goliath what they're going to be scouting for, but Goliath just inquires and he's unsure. Or... I wish I knew. In an ominous and broody voice, but that's just Goliath speak for IDK.
It's just his normal voice.
Like, he doesn't fucking know either.
This is, it's just a day in the life for the Manhattan Clan.
They all take off, scouring the city skies. We crossfade to them landing at the home of none other than Jeffrey Robbins, Hudson's devoted human friend/lover. As they're prepping to land, they converse about how eerily quiet the city seems tonight. They come across pedestrians outside of Jeffrey Robbins' home, where the beach is, that are just turned to statues. That grim realization pretty much, like, dawning in on them at this point. And then Hudson, clearly worried about Jeffrey Robbins, is, like, pounding on his door. And not just, like, in a delicate knock way to ensure that he's aware that you're there. I mean, he pounds his, like, big, meaty claw against the door.
A slam. Can I just say something, though? Mm-hmm. Where does Jeffrey Robbins, like, live? Like, how far out from the city is he? Because he seems like he's
lives on a resort, I'm assuming.
I don't know. But, like, the gargoyles somehow didn't notice while they were in, like, the city proper that everyone's turned to stone, but they only noticed once they get here.
Because
I was under the impression Jeffrey, like, lived kind of far away.
They've now landed onto ground,
and
they can see up close now. But before they were, like, I guess assuming...
Like, they could tell that there were people moving around, but, like, can you really see a statue against concrete at night?
But you'd think that they would have investigated, like, around their immediate area.
If
they knew something was wrong.
I don't have wings, and I've never, like, flown, like, above the city night in a peripheral degree to see, like, all the people, so I can't really say for certain.
We lacked these experiences.
Yeah.
But they also are trying to stay hidden, so let's say there are people inside.
They've never cared about being hidden, even once before in this show.
They
never care.
They
have run down
technicalities. Okay, so... He's clearly pounding on this door because he's probably worried that his boyfriend's turned into a statue too. Gilly, am I pronouncing that right? Gilly or Jilly?
I think it's Gilly.
Gilly, okay.
Gilgamesh.
Okay. Oh yes, of course. Gilly, Robbins' seeing eye dog begins barking, probably aware and on edge due to the sudden change of environment in the entire city. Robbins answers the door, inquiring who's there and apologizing on behalf of Gilly's behavior. Hudson happily says, "It's me, old friend," in this really warm and boisterous tone of voice, eagerly just, like, getting on all fours and petting a welcoming Gilly. It's, like, the most adorable shit I've ever seen.
It is adorable. And we know what old friend is always code for.
Oh!
It means they're gay.
They be fucking...
Old friend.
Okay, so Robbins chuckles, saying that he should have known it was him, by the way Gilly barked, and welcomes him inside. Hudson implores that his friends would be more comfortable outside. As Robbins is passing by Hudson, like, going outside, like, Hudson pats him on the butt.
Okay, it's, like, on his ass.
Hudson pats him on the butt.
Like, I'm sure the animators would
then,
like us to think it's his lower back, but no, he presses his hand right on Robinson's
Even if it were his lower back, that's
And
still
it's
not
like-
any less heterosexual.
It's a very intimate
And
seeming
he has his
gesture.
arm around him as they continue to walk, as if they're going on a nice little stroll together.
He's just so happy to see his boyfriend.
These
and
two-
he doesn't show him off to the rest of his
This
clan.
is
and,
this is the only couple in the show that matters. I'm sorry,
They're
Goliath
so
and Elisa,
beautiful.
but just like,
No, we need more Jeffrey Robbins.
yes, we do. So they walk to the front of the house near the beach and the frozen pedestrians. Robbins points out how eerily quiet it is in the city and how it has him and Gilly on edge, not even being able to reach anyone by phone. We've noticed, Hudson replies, with Brooklyn, also kind of chiming in and inquiring how long it's been like this. And then Robbins and Hudson's kind of has this, like, boomer bro moment where Robbins points out how impatient Brooklyn is, and Hudson agrees by saying, it's the curse of youth.
It's the curse of youth.
Like, they're dating. That's just...
They are dating, but also, like, can you just, like, tell us what's happening? Because we're all scared. We're scared of magic.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know.
Stop
being old men and just
much.
tell us.
Hudson continues, stating that something odd is in fact happening, and that any information Robbins might be able to provide would be of help. Robbins states that, it got quiet around sunset, inquiring whether or not it had anything to do with the odd broadcast. And this, Goliath is just MGS alert sound now. He asks...
Right?
Like, he comes in, he asks for more information, but Robin says that it's still playing inside and that they can go see it for themselves. And here I put in my notes, I asked, why does Robbins have the broadcast playing inside right now to begin with? Because if I were...
waiting for it to, like, finally stop.
Yeah,
so
I
listen
guess.
to the news. Like,
I would get tired of it. Like, I would just turn that shit off is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I would assume that he just wants to have, like, some sort of confirmation, because he can't just mute it, obviously.
I guess. Yeah, no, you definitely have a point. It's just insight, I guess, on my end. The way Brooklyn kind of swaggers into the house, like his ass's store, and he's trying to, like, control his movements, it's probably just because he's butthurt over that boomer roast moment that Hudson and Robbins gave him.
I didn't even notice that.
So, then, before we know it, they're all inside, and then they're all just, like, shocked to see Demona on live TV reciting the spell. Goliath immediately demands Lexington to turn off the sound,
I thought
which
it was
he rushes
so
over
funny
and
that
does.
he's like, Lexington.
Yes,
turn
I
it
put
off.
that in my notes, too.
And Lexington is like, finally, like the moment I've been training for. It's
I think it's so cute
He
that...
bounces across the entire room like it's an
Oh my
action
gosh,
scene.
it is. Because it's intense. Because you don't know... They know this shit's not right. I think it's kind of cute that Goliath is mildly acknowledging during the scene that he doesn't know how to work a television. And
he's
having...
never used
That's
television
why he's
even
like...
once at the clock
That's
tower.
why he's not just doing it himself. He's like getting Lexington to turn
He's
it
like,
off right
Lexington,
now.
you know how machines work. Like, please press the single button. I don't know where it is.
So Robbins comments in response that he normally enjoys listening to the news on TV at nights, but today, this woman interrupted the signal and began chanting in Latin, and he says that it's been repeating nonstop on every channel ever since. Goliath commands that they need to move out now, having discovered this information. Robbins, being the concerned intellectual boyfriend, asks Hudson, what's going on? You definitely know more than you're letting on. And then Hudson is just like, less than you think. Hudson, which is honestly the truth, because Hudson knows nothing about... he does actually know something about witchcraft, so he does know more than he's letting on. Fuck that.
Yeah.
But he knows less than
But he doesn't know, like,
things.
what's really going on. He knows something.
Yeah,
He knows Demona is trying to cast a spell, and people are statues for some reason.
I guess it's also a way of himself acknowledging that he's not as involved with the whole, like, Demona, like, rivalry. I mean, he is, but they all are. But, like, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to diverge that information to Jeffrey Robbins right now. Mm-hmm. And then he gets really personal with Robbins and firmly places his, like, dommy hand over his shoulder, stating that he and Gilly should stay inside their house and stay safe. And then he's just kind of like sighs, walking past him and walking out the door following Goliath and crew, commenting that it's going to be a bad night.
I think this is the last time we're gonna see Jeffrey Robbins in the show, right? Have you ever seen him again?
Well, we do see him in the Goliath Chronicle.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get there.
But yeah, because we're not gonna spend a lot more. Because we're not gonna spend a lot more time, and he doesn't show up during the next section, and then after that with the world tour for so long.
They should show up at his house on the boat ride.
Yeah, they should have, or they should have. I don't know. We needed a Hudson focus episode
or
with
a
Jeffrey
flashback
Robbins
to
in it.
the war when Jeffrey lost his sight. They could do. They don't involve him.
There's so much unexplored terrain.
But we know that he and Hudson are they're still meeting up.
Yeah.
They're still going on dates.
They have a strong ongoing relationship. That's all that matters.
Yeah, nothing will convince me otherwise.
Okay, so we crossfade to the next scene. They're now seeing that everyone in the city has been turned to stone very clearly.
Yeah, now they notice.
Goliath is horrified, unaware that Demona could have this kind of power. Brooklyn replies saying that he wouldn't put anything past Demona. Okay, someone still butthurt that mommy rode your bro to hell and back, but not you. Whatever. Because his brother was in, the clan.
I totally forgot about that until this moment. Yes, Demona fucked
Brooklyn's brother, but not Brooklyn. And I think that's just, he's not aware of it, but he's, spiritually butthurt over it. Okay, so... Lexington asks why Robbins wasn't affected by the spell, and Hudson explains that you have to see and hear magic for it to touch you, and a blind man is immune.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
I like this. So, okay, so there is some expansion given on this in outside material. You don't have to see and hear the entire spell for it to affect you. But if you don't see it at all, or you don't hear it at all, then you're immune.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Not even a little bit.
I guess they have to see the broadcast for it to affect them, and since, Robbins is blind, he doesn't see the broadcast, he just hears, some bitch chanting in Latin. It's okay, whatever.
I feel like that should be the case, for this one specific spell, maybe, but, not for all magic, because that's just, I don't like that.
Yeah.
What if a sorcerer is on a battlefield somewhere? There's all these people, armies fighting, weapons hitting each other. No one can hear the sorcerer on the other side of the field. So if you cast a lightning bolt or something, it just wouldn't affect them.
Well, no, because it's only specifically for regarding alteration magic.
Okay, well they didn't say that. They just say magic.
That's discussed.
So
more
that's
in
what
the outside.
That's what I'm saying. Specific
magic
that's the case.
Yes, for magics that affect you personally, for evocation, it's not an issue because you're summoning a lightning bolt.
We're going to D&D schools of magic now.
Because they summon a lightning bolt. The lightning bolt physically hurts you the same way any other physical thing would interact with you. It's only if the magic is interacting with you personally that this is a thing.
Oh my god. I wasn't expecting him to do that. He's like a little he's like a little Superman.
He's adorable.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. I fixed it.
Why did you take my cushion?
For viewers who can't see it, which is everyone, my dog just I moved the blanket over my dog's bed, and then he just got up and just walked around with the blanket over his head it was nothing.
He looked like the Virgin Mary.
Okay. So yeah, that's some interesting lore, I guess. I don't know.
Blindness just grants you immunity to magic.
It's
alteration.
I'm not gonna touch upon it. I'm just saying that's what it was. That's how the episode addressed it. Yeah. Goliath says that they're gonna need to split up. Brooklyn, being a hothead, is I'll go north, and Goliath is wait, no, we are searching in pairs. Okay, Hudson and Robbins are not only right about Brooklyn, but are just immensely just more based. I'm just saying. Goliath is like, okay, well, obviously you and I are going to need to spend more time together, so you're coming with me, so I can keep my eye on you.
We're going to have to spank you.
We're going to have to spank you into submission, Brooklyn, because you get so uppity about the mommy milkers every single fucking time.
Don't
it's
worry,
a problem.
Daddy will take you in hand like he always does.
Take some daddy milkers for the time being as comeuppance compensation. Okay. And then Goliath is like, Hudson and Lexington, y'all are awesome, but you guys should go probably be the ones to explain to Broadway as to what's going on right now. Then a lot of them will search onward, so that means leaving Elisa alone. And Lexington brings up the very good point that will leave Elisa unprotected if they just go out and scout. Mm-hmm. But Goliath insists that since Demona doesn't know where she is, Elisa's as safe in the tower as anywhere. And it's just like... This is just me talking now. Sorry, I kind of agree with Lex that they shouldn't leave someone that alone that has not only had their back from the very beginning, has effectively become the group mom, just in hopes for trying to find more chances to stop Demona. I get that the situation is very drastic to the point where they feel they need to compromise and utilize their methods. The entire
city is in danger.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. But I just feel like Elisa would be like a bigger target. I don't know. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Well, I think my thoughts on the matter are this. If Demona knew where Elisa was, they would have found out by now.
Yeah, that's true.
If she hasn't come after Elisa at this point, then there is no reason for them to think she's going to come any further. They've already guarded her for like the entire first part of this.
I see.
At this point, the chances of Demona coming after her are infinitesimal compared to the number of people she's killing all over the place.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point.
And Elisa would not be happy if they had Gargoyle sitting around protecting her statue while people are getting killed.
Putting that into perspective, I do see your point.
Yeah.
Alright, where was I? Brooklyn asks Goliath how they're going to find Demona, and Goliath grimly states that finding Demona will be almost too easy.
Cut to a pile
of rubble on city sidewalks. It's a trail of what would be bodies as Demona gleefully laughs and smashes another frozen pedestrian with a fucking spiked mace. Much like the Vikings when they wiped out her clan. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm. This is the scene everyone remembers from this episode. And
this is
when
insane.
I think of City in Stone, this is like the first thing that I always think of. Is smashing people.
It's very, like, wild in this, like, twisted, dark way. I'm about to go into that. Anyways, kind of a homicidal hypocrite that Demona is. But, I mean, hey, what do you expect? And then she says... Another human bites the dust. And it's just like, okay, but is that a Queen reference? Is that... You're referencing human culture while destroying humans?
Well, it's so she can make a sick pun.
Oh my god, she's a child.
Because she says, or rather,
turns to dust. Like, what's the pun? That they didn't bite the dust, they turned to dust. Like, I get it. I guess. It's funny. And then she pulls out a laser rifle, and then she turns to, like, a frozen Nancy woman holding grocery bags, and Demona's all like, here, let me help you with those packages, and then fucking blasts her arms to smithereens. She doesn't even destroy the whole statue, just the arms. Like, she's just a woman walking with no arms now. She'll be fine. She just has no arms.
She's not, when the spell wears off, she is gonna, like, okay, you know the Monty Python movie of the Black Knight? Where, like, it's just a flesh wound and there's just, like, blood, like, shooting out of, like, the arm sockets.
Care.
It's gonna be that, but, like, much more traumatizing.
This whole, like, sequence... It fucking reminds me of, like, Angelica from the Rugrats when she's, like, torturing, like, the babies, and it'd just be, like, she'd just be, like, the most evil person ever and just be, like, loving it. She's, like, a bully right now, pretty much, but, like, in a more homicidal way. She doesn't understand.
She understands exactly what she's doing.
Oh, that poor Nancy woman, like, I hope that she gets, like, some prosthetic arms in the future.
Automail? She's gonna be Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh my gosh, she is.
and then she'll fight Envy.
So yeah, Damona's just like killing people in the streets, but like in a very over the top way. And she wanders in front of a clock store, and then she's just trotting around laughing with her rifle. She puts her arm around like a statue couple in front of the clock store and jokingly asks them, "Oh, where does the time go? I've got to run. I gotta meet Xanatos at the studio." And then she just turns around and blasts them. You know,
she only blasts the woman.
No, but she blasts. No, she blasts the man.
Oh,
too.
does she?
Yeah.
She blasts the woman. She walks off screen, and then the blast comes back and kills the man.
She's like, "Wait, I don't want to forget
Who
you."
I would like to point out, this is an animation error, but they are Brendan and Margot.
Okay, I know that the woman looks like Margot. Does the man look like Brendan there?
Sort of.
Sorta.
So they died. They're dead.
They're
Except they'll come back
dead.
in the next episode.
Okay, how amazing would it be if we had these recurring characters since like episode 2, and then they just get killed off this way?
God, it would
That
be
would've been
great because they're
amazing.
terrible people.
Okay, I also thought it was like very stupid that like she had to make some sort of time pun, and so like in order to make it work, they like made her go in front of like a clock store. Like,
You know what?
I don't know why that.
You know
even
what this
happened.
reminds me of? This reminds me of like when she shot Elisa with the poison, and she was like, "Chow." Like it's that exact same like display of mannerisms that I'm getting here. Okay, so and then she just turns around and like blasts the other guy, and then she's like, she can't let Xanatos turn off her little show.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next
Even though when he does turn it off later, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, you know, I
So
could.
why does she care?
She's weird.
Because she wants to kill Xanatos.
Well, yeah.
That's the whole reason she... Because if he turns it off, then he can vanish and she won't be able to find him.
But it's not like he's listening to her right now. Like, why does she say that to herself?
We see like, okay, so I'm not gonna touch upon this anymore. I'm done with it. Okay, so next shot, spaceship.
I believe it's...
It's not a spaceship.
It's a spaceship.
It is a spaceship.
I believe
It's
it's
like
like
an
now
aircraft.
my part of the story.
Not quite yet. He has one last stinger for the commercial.
No, all I put in my notes was spaceship. What? I'm done in like all caps.
Okay, well...
Okay, so I started my...
Before yours starts, though...
No, this is exactly where I started mine.
Okay, did you start it with noting that he has like a computer
computerized
voice that talks to him?
Yes, it's in my notes right here.
Just like Cable does
Yes.
from X-Men?
Yes,
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So we focusing on a ship which looks vaguely Star Wars-esque, like a Star Wars spaceship. What is in my notes, mind you?
Okay.
I know it's not a spaceship, but it looks like a Star Wars spaceship. I didn't name it as an airship, though.
This is gonna be the best episode we've ever done.
Absolutely.
One
second.
This mysterious
He
man.
is headed to Pack Media Studios, and his computer is talking to him with this weird computerized voice, like, the signal has been traced to Pack Media Studios.
I think this is the first time his computer ever talks to
And
him.
then he turns to the camera, and it's all like, who is he? 'Cause he's wearing
He's like,
wearing the
who is he?
the hunter
Breaking
mask.
the fourth wall and
then
looking right
we just
at
hear
us.
this very Scottish voice go, "Soon, Damona, soon," as we wonder who this mysterious figure could possibly be.
Well, we don't know who it is because we haven't heard any bagpipes yet.
That's
So, like,
right.
we have no idea who it could be.
We need the bagpipes to
that.
cue in, like, who, okay.
Yeah, how are we supposed to recognize him without bagpipes playing every time
my
he shows up?
Fine.
Alright, so now we flash back to the past again. I didn't actually write down the correct year, but
It's
oh well.
1032 AD.
1032.
Which sets this as 12 years after the last flashback we saw.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with, of course, Damona and the Hunter fighting again in like
They've
this
been
weird
fighting
little.
for 12 fucking years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
This is a very heated rivalry.
So we're like in this little weird shaped canyon area in the middle of the Scottish Highlands, I guess.
It looks like the remains of like an abandoned battlefield almost, but like in a weird.
It's got
Wait, does it?
these strange cliffs, which are the cliffs are there for a reason, mind you, but like they look really strange at the start of the scene.
I thought it looked like a very pretty area.
Oh, it looks very
to have
pretty.
bloody fight in.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. It's just very oddly shaped, notably. But of course, Demona's all like taunty, like, "Is that the best you can do, human?" Human.
She's a friendly now.
Hunter's, care to try again, monster. And of course, we can see at first, like, they're gradually lightening the scene, and then all of a sudden the sun starts up
because it's gargoyle
in fast speed. Because like before that, it was still clearly slowly lightning, and then all of a sudden sunrise, but not as quick as usual because it doesn't actually like turn her to stone.
Okay, because you can see the sunlight. Like, I don't know why it's not turning her to stone.
It's
Gargoyles also has a very tenuous grasp on when they actually turn into
They were
stone.
really ambitious with this 4-parter, but like they couldn't compact like everything. So.
Yeah, the animation in this episode has some issues.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Like that one, I'm sure was not supposed to be as bright as it was, but here we are. Anyways, so Demona and the Hunter are fighting. No one's really winning, but then the sun's coming up, so Demona like climbs up that weird cliff, and it's like, "We'll finish this another night."
Not if I find you during the day.
Yeah,
he says.
So he like. Of course, so we cut away, whatever. Nothing actually important happened, which is going to be a running theme of some of these scenes.
Well, it establishes that they've been doing this for a while. I know. It reminds us that, like, oh yeah, they want to kill each other.
So now we have a random archery scene for some reason. Because Gruak's father is just shooting arrows at targets in the middle of a market for some reason.
Are they in a market?
Wait,
no, I thought they were, like, in the castle square.
They were in the castle square, but there was a bunch of like stands for selling stuff behind them.
They probably just has that permanently in the castle.
A castle
it's
is
like
just,
Dragon Age Inquisition.
It's a confined space of land where people reside in and live.
Why are you defining what a castle is?
Because I'm just saying, a market could be ideally close to the archery range.
Yeah, to sell those
That's probably
arrows.
what's going on
I'm
here.
not saying that it couldn't be. I'm just pointing out that this is what the scene we're setting is.
Okay, but Gruak's hot dad is here. And, I noticed he seemed, like, notably more hot than he had last episode.
I think he's less hot because his, like, weird dye beard situation.
Okay, see, that turned me on. I was like, oh, he's hotter now.
But yes, so he's older, and also Macbeth is older, who's standing right next to him.
Macbeth is also definitely a lot hotter now.
Yeah.
He's grown into himself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh, yeah.
How can you do this to us, Bodhi? I'm sorry, Macbeth, but as our father's I right to marry Gruak to whoever I choose.
Yeah.
So they're arguing over...
It's the Middle Ages.
Yeah. They don't even hide it. Gargoyles is just like, yeah, we're going to point out just how screwed up some of the stuff in the Middle Ages is. Straight to the face. And I choose Gilcum Gain.
Gilcum Gain?
Yes. Who, of course, is now like a duke or something weird.
He's the steward of the castle.
Right. I warn you, if you allow this travesty to happen, Gruak and I will quit this castle and this land. Because freaking Macbeth is such a drama queen when he was in his...
I love it, though.
Let me have my coochie or you won't have any more boochie. I don't know why I said that inside.
But yeah, so Bodhi proceeds to finally miss the target, which he's been hitting every time, right as Macbeth claims he's taking Gruak away.
He's so startled.
He's so startled, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Be reasonable. The truth is, Duncan himself has ordered this marriage.
Prince Duncan, that asshole.
It would be capital treason to defy him. Gruak shall be my country.
Yes.
Because Macbeth is, again, being a drama queen.
Okay, but like he's a hot drama queen.
Yeah,
This type of shit. This is what we want.
But now we just switched to this weird long shot from between the barrels. Like for some reason the camera's placed between two barrels in the distance. You can see the barrels on the side of the shot, and you're watching them like you're creeping on them from a corner.
It's all,
and I don't know why it just does that because it's.
Just to give you the sense of being a voyeur.
There are like gargoyles hiding in those barrels.
Yeah,
you're probably hoping to get like an upskirt shot of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that happens, and then he says there be no safe place to run if you care not for yourself. I pray you think my daughter. And then it switches back, and we never go back to that perspective again. I don't know why that happens.
they want to play with the camera angles. Let them play.
Fine. I'm just like analyzing this. I'm just like, why is this even happening? I didn't have much to analyze here, okay? I'm working with what I got.
Yeah, I respect that.
Okay, listeners will note I did give Hiran like the most boring part of the episode because I didn't want to do this any more Scottish politics. So I was like, Hiran, can you please do this part for me?
Yeah, so, meanwhile, of course, we'll see, there's a common theme in this episode, but Macbeth's eyes are completely off model when he...
he's got, like, heterochromia.
No, not yet.
That's
That's a different off model. We'll get to that. Right now, so he's like, then I pray you think my daughter. And then we focus in on Macbeth, who turns away and looks thoughtful.
He looks directly, like, into the camera.
But his eye, he has a lazy eye in that shot, where one of his pupils is just pointing the wrong way.
He's trying to look at both.
I think that's like his intellectual expression.
He's trying to look at both.
He looks very off model.
And both the third wall at the same time.
Yeah. Anyway, so we go to this beautiful green countryside.
Okay, this is the valley from Howl's Moving Castle that they go to. Mm-hmm. It looks exactly the same.
Yeah. And we open up, and Macbeth is approaching Gruach. And he's like, my love, at last.
They're like on a... what are they? Where are they at? Like, they're on a hill?
They're on this beautiful green hill overlooking the countryside.
And there's flowers, like, everywhere.
Like, what is this place?
It's the Scottish Highlands. And
yeah,
this is what they're like.
Having been to both Scotland and Ireland, this is just what it looks like around there.
Damn, I'll have to take a visit sometime.
Jealous.
Yeah. It's that area, part of the country is just gorgeous, and you could, as long as if you step anywhere away from civilization, it looks like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of it.
Which was probably a lot easier back then. But she's like, "What has happened? Only that I have had time to reflect. Reflect on what? We shall run away together. No, we can't."
The drama. He was like,
just like,
they're both making like the most dramatic like gestures and motions during all this. He's like holding her away. He's like, no, we can't.
It's got a very soap opera feel to it. You must do as your father commands. Marry Gilcomgain.
Ugh.
Say this is but a jest. We swore to face the future together. Face any future as long as it was together. And the wind starts whipping at freaking Macbeth's hair, which isn't long, mind you. It's like just like medium length, maybe.
He's got that man pretty going on.
But yeah, you can literally see the hair whipping through his hair as he turns away and stares off into the distance. Mm-hmm. And gives like a very hilariously flat line delivery. You're not worth the trouble. But it's just like as flat as can be.
So bad. Like she like looks so like, oh, I'm not worth the trouble.
As you wish it. Mm-hmm. And she just walks away. He turns, holds his hand like, oh, I must go after her. But no, I can't.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
He gives this like guttural grunt and just walks away.
It reminded me of that episode of Frasier we just watched where they just like scream into the pillows when they get frustrated.
Yeah. That's pretty much Macbeth in his entirety, honestly.
Like, this is just a scene where like straight people can't talk to each other, so like he can't tell Gruach like, hey, we can't get married because like if we do, like this whole shitstorm will start, so like you have to marry Gilcomgain. Instead he has to be like, I just don't like you anymore, and we're breaking up. And she's just like, oh, and then like she goes off to cry.
You know,
except that she clearly knows he's lying.
But if she knows, then like, why can't they just have an actual conversation about it?
Because this is how straight people are.
The more I think about it, the more like Demona and Macbeth really do have a lot in common.
Anyways, so we switch scenes again because we time skipped yet again. This time, just as the marriage of Gruach to Gilcomgain finishes.
Oh, I love a wedding.
My bride, the Lady Gilcomgain. Gilcomgain announces, and she just walks into the scene looking fabulous, but also absolutely miserable.
Okay, but she's got to look fabulous because Macbeth might look at her. So
Yes.
she has to look amazing, but she's not going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
But like,
There's a lot of third degree going on.
like how much older is Dilton Jane than she is?
Like at least 20 to 30 years.
I would have said like 10 years.
Well,
Which isn't that bad for the Middle Ages.
I know, but he's like gray-haired and showing some slight wrinkles, and she's in her early 20s.
If I wanted, I could look up the timeline, but I don't want to right now.
I mean, I know her and Macbeth are the same age, and they're in their early 20s.
Yeah.
Gilcomgane was already a grown man when he killed their father 10 years ago.
I mean, but they were in their teens then.
Yeah, but he already was graying.
Okay. Some people just turn gray really early.
Like me, yes.
Like you and like me. Like all of us together.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you'll be there someday.
I'll be there eventually.
I don't know. But my point is that I'm guessing he's in his 40s at the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so...
Oh, the weird sisters are also present at the wedding.
Yes, I'm trying to find where my notes I am. My lord. So, yes, the Fates are there, and they're in these lovely salmon dresses with yellow flowers decorating them and these lilac accents. I just thought they were really nice looking dresses.
It must have looked... I have to go back and look at it. I love that you took notes on their dresses.
I'm impressed.
With lilac accents.
Your attention to detail never ceases to amaze me.
Where do you think they got the dresses from?
They
just
them.
make them?
Yeah.
So they just have a keen eye for fashion then.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you've been around that long. Besides, they're known for their sewing.
Yeah, well, so, at least one version of them is.
Yeah.
Because they weave the tapestry of fate and such.
Yeah, like they could have just sewn it themselves. They have the talent. Okay, so, and of course they're narrating now. To who we don't really know, but they are happy beginning. Not all would agree. Certainly not our hero.
Oh.
Because now we're focusing on an angsting Macbeth, who's just like sitting there on the throne for whatever reason.
Why is he on the throne?
I don't know.
That's like Dilton Jane's seat.
I don't know why he's sitting on the throne.
Maybe it's like the spare throne.
Unless the wedding took place at his castle, but that makes no sense.
But Dilton Jane is in charge of Macbeth's castle.
Oh, that's right.
Because he's in charge of Castle Moray.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he probably shouldn't be sitting there, but he doesn't care, and clearly no one's paying attention to him, so he's getting away with it. Is really all I'm...
Well, yeah, because right now he is not thinking very fondly of the royal prince, and so, like, he's not in open rebellion, but, like, he's clearly working himself up to it.
Okay, so he's, like, still wearing, like, no pants, right? Like, he's still got, like, the
He has beautiful legs. He shows them off every chance
Is he like,
gets.
man-spreading when he's sitting?
Probably.
I forgot. Yeah, okay.
So.
So if you're, like, sitting right in front of him, okay, gotcha.
He's like...
And it's like, sir, I can see your bowls.
Meanwhile, everyone is too busy to notice him because they're all cooing over Ganmore, who's Prince Duncan's firstborn.
Oh, you wrote that down. Okay, all I wrote down for my notes is Duncan shows up to show off his baby that he had via Mpreg.
It's the ugliest fucking baby
Because we
I've
never
ever seen.
see the mother of this. I assume
Well,
that she's dead,
I will get around to that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You know about the mom.
Well, you'll see.
Everybody's like guffawing over this fucking baby, and it's just like it's the ugliest baby I've ever seen in all of animation history.
Tis the young Prince Ganmore, Prince Duncan's firstborn. Yeah, Macbeth just glares so angrily at Prince Duncan, or Angstly.
He's because Duncan gets to have a family and do all this shit, and Macbeth can't.
Yeah, and he just walks right out. And it's just like, Macbeth, your angst levels are through the roof.
But then Prince Duncan smirks very evilly after him, all according to plan.
Although, I'm not sure how much it's evil and how much it's, high school evil girl smirk.
Yeah, that's literally what it boils down to in those times.
So Macbeth, and walks out. Right, now I know where we are. Once again, Duncan and Gilcomgane are at a way too big table surrounded with, every luxury you can afford. Giant tapestries, gold glittering statue things.
Ooh.
It's just this nice, big, way too decorated room that shows everything wrong with royalty.
The decadence.
Yeah. And there's just one more bit of business that needs doing, Prince Duncan announces as he puts his feet on this very nice solid oak table.
Okay, all I wrote down was that he puts his feet on the table in a very foot fetishy way. And, like, you can read into that however you want to.
I will get to that.
That was the impression that I received.
Well, there's a reason he's doing that.
Like, lick my boot, slave. Like, that kind of impression.
Well, the thing you need to understand is that Gilcom Gain is Prince Duncan's dom.
That makes sense.
But now it's like, he's like, now I'm the dom.
Yeah, but he's only doing that because he's a giant brat and he's trying to provoke Duncan into Gilcom Gain into taking action against him.
Because he wants him to. Because he actually wants to get Macbeth to kill Gilcom Gain. For some reason.
No, he doesn't want Macbeth to kill Gilcom Gain. This is all just part of a game to them.
I don't know why, like... Yeah, I don't know what, like, Duncan's actual goals
We're not there yet.
are.
I will explain it. Just
Okay. I would love you to explain
We're gonna get there.
Yes, so right now they're just doing their usual flirting. And that would be my prince. I want you to arrange an accident for my cousin Macbeth. So, this is just like the latest in their series of crazy scheming between,
Like, some couples just, like, role play. These two are like, no, we're not trying to role play. We're actually going to plot murder and death while we're fucking each other.
Yes, exactly. So, of course, Gilcom Gain at this point, like, gets pulled out of it. He's like, no. Nay, my lord. Macbeth is an heir to the crown and much beloved by the people. Unlike you.
Oh,
basically.
Oh my god.
That is the very clear subtext there.
And this
oh my god.
And this is when Duncan sits up and, like, stops, like, doing his flirty pose and actually starts taking the conversation
that
seriously.
wasn't hot anymore, Gilcom Gain.
Yeah. The role play is, like, dead now.
And now Gilcom Gain's like, you've gotten... You need to be put in your place. So he's like, besides, it might lead to some uncomfortable questions about his father's demise and who demanded it. Mm-hmm. Because, if Duncan's going to be a giant brat, Gilcom Gain's going to go full dom on him.
Mm-hmm. Of course, naturally.
But Duncan doesn't like not getting his way, so he's like, think well before you defy me, Gilcom Gain. Expecting him to, like, back down, because he is the prince after all. But, Gilcom Gain doesn't take him seriously at all, so he's just like, think well before you risk my defiance, Prince Duncan. Oh. So Duncan's like, well, screw you. I'm going to make you do the work that I want you to do anyways.
Yes, but in, like, a more roundabout fashion.
So he goes full brat and is like, I'm going to make this happen anyways.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because afterwards, Gilcom Gain will, punish him for it, but he'll still have gotten what he wanted.
Yeah.
So
he likes a little spanky on the side.
Oh my.
So
imagine being such a good dom that, like, you're awarded stewardship, like, of an entire castle and, like, territory. That's pretty good. Like, you know, we have, like, Finn doms these days. Like, Gilcom Gain is the original Finn dom.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how he got to where he is. He's just like, he's trying to dom here, dom there, dom everywhere.
So once again we go to a new room, and the Fates are there again as nursemaids this time. Mm-hmm. For the young. I
already forgot his name.
Me too. Ganmore,
right?
Ganmore.
With a G?
Yep. Oh. I looked it up in the
I thought it had
script.
G. Okay. And he's
the script you sent me had a G, so I'm going with that.
Let me look at... I feel like it's definitely with a C.
Well, the script you sent me might have been wrong.
The script is not always correct. I should have warned you about that.
Oh, okay. I originally wrote Canmore.
Entire conversation.
I have no info.
Son of Duncan.
Canmore.
Yes, okay. And because, eventually the...
yes.
That family of hunters will be the Canmore family.
Yeah. But that's moving way ahead. For now, so the Fates are here as nursemaids. And there's a knock on the door, and we see Macbeth enter. You summoned me, my lord? And then we find out who summoned him. It's, of course, Prince Duncan, who's enacting his bratty plan right now. So he's like, please, cousin, enter. I'm in need of your counsel. And, of course, he's playing it up. But, like, I will give him credit. He's not playing it up that much. Like, it's a decent act.
He seems like a good person in this scene, which, like, is very funny.
Yeah, like he has the acting chops to pull this off, especially since Macbeth already is the moment this starts is entrapped because he just wants to charge into it. He's a himbo.
For my notes, I put that in this scene, Prince Duncan started reminding me of Tony Dracon.
Yeah.
And okay, so you also got that?
Yeah.
I just thought that was
that was a very Dracon plan.
Speaking of Tony Dracon, if you want to see him without a shirt on,
oh my god,
you should check out our second episode covering the Marvel Gargoyles comic, which may or may not be up by the time this episode is we don't know. Our posting schedule's a little all over the place at the moment, but we're gonna post them when we want to post them, and you should keep an eye out for our second episode about the comic, because Tony Dracon is shirtless in it, and we get to see his collection of naked statues as well, and it's great. Mm-hmm. So far, it's 2 for 2 of issues with male nudity in them.
Wow.
And this one's got female nudity too.
Yes, male and female nudity as well. It's got something for everyone. Mm-hmm. You'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he's of course begging him, like, I've learned of the true identity of the mysterious hunter. It's terrible, shocking. But not like Macbeth is watching on, and this is when he has the heterochromia going on.
Ah, okay. I didn't notice because I was too invested.
Yeah, because I had to pause and keep going back and forth, and I noticed I'm like, hold on, for like a good chunk of the scene, he has one blue eye and one brownish orange eye for some reason.
Maybe it's like the fire glinting.
It could be like that was what I thought it was at first, and then I watched it more, and I'm just like, I'm not convinced. They know.
It's probably...
Okay, what color is his eye supposed to be? Does he have brown eyes?
In the future, they're like kind of grayish steel, aren't they?
Yeah, they're kind of like.
We don't know what color is. We don't know what color Demona is. We don't know what color Macbeth's eyes are.
I feel like that's more excusable.
Yeah, well, you know, I would knock that off as an animation error, honestly.
It definitely was an animation error. Mm-hmm. I'm just throwing out some of the more obvious ones. Man, this episode was full of animation errors. Anyways, but of course Macbeth is like totally invested now. You know who killed my father? Prince Duncan like turns away because he can't keep a straight face any longer. And now he's got like a full smug smirk as he announces, Gilcomgain,
my dam.
What? Oh, he fooled me completely. The wrongs I've done you, cousin. Were it not for this braggart, you would be the High Steward of Moray and have Gruach for your own. I dare not attack him openly, for it could start a war, and the rest of Scotland would suffer. What can possibly be done? Because I can't think of anything that could be done to stop, this evil hunter.
So, I was once told... I think this was actually in a fantasy book series I read called Wizard's First Rule, which is very bad and no one should read it. But one of the lines from the first book that I liked was that if you're going to tell a lie to someone, there's 2 ways to do it. You either tell them something that they're afraid of, or you tell them something that they want to be true.
Yep.
So by Duncan telling this to Macbeth, like, Macbeth would love if Duncan actually turned out to be a good person, and then he could, like, annul Gruach's marriage to Gilcomgain, let Macbeth marry Gruach, let Macbeth kill Gilcomgain. Like, everything is, like, exactly what Macbeth wants.
Yep.
So it's, like, it's such an easy lie to give him, and, like, it's short. It's almost, like, 100%, like, short of work. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Oh, yeah.
And Macbeth just grips his sword at the hilt and declares, leave that to me. Because he can't see how he's being played as a pawn in their little lover spat here. Because, of course, he's being sent off to die.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's a dangerous game, but, it turns Duncan
This
on.
is just Macbeth's entire life, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to cut again to a cave in the countryside somewhere. Who knows?
Demona's shitty cave.
Demona's shitty cave. Her latest in her line of shitty caves. And we see the gargoyle version of the Weird Sisters has once more returned. Say, your hunter will resurface tonight. Castle Moray, we offer you another opportunity. And Demona just jumps up.
To kill the hunter.
Super excited.
Yeah.
To destroy my enemy.
Yeah.
Which, the funny part is, she says, like, destroy in the show, and it doesn't even, like, normally destroy, like, feels out of place. But no, like...
Not when Demona
says it. I 100% buy that she wants to do more than kill her enemy. She wants to destroy them. So, yeah. But, okay. So, there's a couple hot gargoyles in the back, but you can barely see them.
I barely even noticed them.
But I will say in the next shot, like, the gargoyle guys are the framing element as we watch. Oh. And, like, you can see one of them has, like, this really hot thigh that you can see almost all the way to his butt, and there's no clothes on it.
Gargoyles are sluts.
And
really
like, on the other side, this guy who's crouching, who looks a little more like Lex, but, like, you can sort of see a bit of his ass. And they're, like, the biting enemies. Well, during the next part of this. Because they're not moving. I just need to point that out. But no, the Weird Sisters just kind of like, no, to ally yourself with Macbeth and of Castle Clan Moray. What we've been telling you for literally 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
Never!
She's so stubborn.
And she turns away. She won't even show her face to the audience now. She's just keeping her face pointed against the wall.
Walks to a wall and just, like, stares at it.
Allied with a human. Never again.
So much drama.
Yes, the hunter's enemy to you both. But together you can defeat him, but separately. And so this amount of foreshadowing has finally convinced her to look at them again. She just glares at them like, I make no promises. And the crickets start chirping.
What?
I guess it's the next thing that happens.
So I didn't hear what he said.
I said, and then crickets start chirping because I accidentally jumped to the next scene. That is.
That's great.
So yes, we open up on crickets chirping. As Rock is staring at a rose and sitting on the ramparts on this little tiny bench on these very empty ramparts, looking miserable as all get out still.
Okay, I feel like she just finished singing like, it's over, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it over? Like, she just finished, like, her big Disney number.
Yeah.
But, like, the show skipped over it, is all.
Yeah. Anyways, Gilcum Game comes out, and she won't even look at him. She's like, the night is cold. Go...
Yeah, that's not the only thing that's cold right now, buddy.
And then she, like, someone look at him, he's just like, go inside and stir the fire. I don't want to deal with you. So she walks over to him and gives the most passive-aggressive curtsy I've ever seen.
She's serving strong anti-Himamiya energy in this scene.
And then leaves the rose on the bench, which is also strong anti-Himamiya.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
So Gilcum Game picks up the rose, smells it. I don't know what the rose where this rose even came from.
Okay, this is now him fantasizing about Macbeth fucking him.
Yeah.
And he's like, but wait. And then he, like, throws the rose on the ground and, like, stomps on it. He's like,
crunches it under his
I
heel.
want to dominate Macbeth, actually. Like, so, like...
the rose is Macbeth.
I think this is just a scene that just indicates he does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sexually.
So Macbeth, of course, does his best plan ever he's come up with here.
Just, like, announcing himself loudly and then just having a fight.
The amount of sarcasm in that statement you just gave, I love it.
So he walks up, sees Gilcum Game alone there, and is just like, turn, murderer, your time has come. Draw your sword, sir, and I will strike you down like the cowardly dog you are.
He says, Sirrah.
Sirrah. Sirrah. Are you describing me or your mongrel father? Because Gilcum Game immediately knows that, like, he has daddy issues. So...
Like,
damn.
He just doesn't give a fuck. He's that cold of a motherfucker.
So, of course, Macbeth, being the idiot he is, rushes in the moment his father's insulted, and Gilcum Game just sidesteps, strikes him on the back of his head, and sends him flying to the ground.
He just sort of kicks his ass for a while here, and, like, it was sort of funny to watch. Like, Macbeth.
Like, we understand now why the Weird Sister said that he's not gonna win unless Demona shows up.
Yeah.
It would be like in The Princess Bride if Inigo Montoya showed up and was like, you killed my father, prepare to die. And then just, like, slapstick shit started happening to him, like, immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So, you should have paid more attention to your lessons, boy. Gilcomgain, of course, is referring to
Breaking up
Macbeth
with
as
boy.
boy, just like how he refers to Prince Duncan.
You are out for blood in this narrative you're giving, and I love it. Like, this is great.
I told you I had to come up with something.
I like seeing you unhinged like this.
You know,
is beautiful.
he can always open up for more subs. He's
Yeah.
never afraid to take on more.
So Macbeth is like, screw this. He just grabs the bench that Ruach was sitting on and like upturns it and throws the entire bench at Gilcomgain. Gilcomgain sees this slow-moving bench coming at him that it takes him several and just steps to the side and lets it pass him.
Nice.
And then just bashes him on the head again.
Oh my gosh.
Meanwhile, Damona's like up on the higher roof, just sitting there watching this, like, why? What the hell is wrong with these people?
She's probably just like saying something like humans always fighting even each other. Like I'm sure that's what was going through her mind.
This is just, there's men shit going on.
Just men.
Just guys
They have
being
needs.
guys.
Okay, so Macbeth finally manages to disarm him with the a leg sweep, just like Riza does.
Yeah, it was pretty hot.
Except that leg sweep shouldn't have worked because I happen to know, because I had my friends teach me who happen to know how to fight. I'm not. But I did try doing leg sweeps, and I learned that if someone has both feet planted on the ground and they're in a good position, a leg sweep is literally just going to injure your leg. Like, you need to hit them when they have one leg off the ground, otherwise it's not going to work. Which Riza does, but he does not. And somehow it just magically works.
We're talking about Full Metal Alchemist again, by the way.
Sorry.
I did go through the leg sweep scene of Gargoyles frame by frame just to see if we could like take a look up Macbeth's like kilt as he's doing this, and like you can't really see anything.
That's unfortunate. We were robbed.
Yeah, I feel like you should, but like if he was a gargoyle, we'd see like his entire ass and balls.
Yeah,
just they're constantly showing that shit. But you know, Macbeth is a little bit more modest. He's not
up to loincloth standards yet.
Give him a couple centuries.
Just like rip up his kilt a bit, turn it into a loincloth, and then we'll talk.
Oh.
So he disarms him. Gilcomgain goes backwards and backs into a torch, which falls over the edge just so we can see how high up they are, if that wasn't already super clear from all the establishing shots.
Okay, but like he looks after the torch like for so long that he gives Macbeth time to like do something else, right? Like he's looking at that torch for like several long seconds.
It's a very long scene for some reason.
Where he's in the middle of a fight.
And we're just like, what is going on? But of course, then we hear, "My lord, I heard voices." And Kurok shows up.
She keeps showing up in the middle of sword fights.
Yeah,
I heard voices, but I didn't hear any like swords clanging or like some tables being smashed or anything.
Oh, that was probably her diplomatic way of being like saying she heard voices is her way of saying like, okay, I don't know what you're doing out here, but
stop it.
I am aware that like she wasn't going to mention the violence. Like that's what you do in a tense situation. Like you mention something like that's not a big deal. People's attention
she just comes through the doorway. And she's like, "My lord, I heard voices." Like, what the fuck kind of voices were you hearing? Did the voices tell you to? Are the voices here in the room with you right now? Did they tell you to come outside?
I mean, to be fair, there would definitely be no swords clanking because their swords never hit each other in this
fight.
Oh yeah,
that's true. That is true.
There's just lots of swooshing.
There's a lot of swooshing.
Like, there's a lot of them banging around, but there's nothing that would make you think that like there's actually a sword fight going on.
Maybe she heard like Macbeth's voice and her like she got her panties got wet and she's like, "Ooh, I need to like go out there and see if my man's out there."
Let me go back and fondle my rose a little bit more and maybe sniff it deeply, like I sniff his underwear if he wore underwear, but he doesn't since he's Scottish.
There's a lot to take in. There's a lot to take in that one. Let me tell you.
Moving on. Come on, then. So of course, Gilcomgain immediately grabs Grok and is like holding her. He's like,
his fucking wife.
His wife. Like, come on, then, lad. All you need to get me is to go through her. Which, keep in mind, the only reason he married her was for her land.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm just throwing that out there. But Macbeth, being a total idiot and not realizing that this is going to get both him and Grok killed, because Gilcomgain won't let her survive this either. is that he just kneels down and hands over his blade.
God.
Don't hurt her.
What a fucking
I'll give
fuck
you my
boy.
sword.
That's
Low.
like.
And of course, Goken Game just grins, like, how the fuck did this work?
How did this work?
But-
You people are idiots. You straight people are idiots.
Yeah. And he's like, but what is the hunter without his prey? So now he goes, of course, for the psychological torture again, because he's in Dom mode.
Oh, is that why he... Okay, I was so confused when he puts the mask on.
It's because that's the mask that he wore to kill his father, and he's trying to literally psychologically torture this guy before he kills him.
I thought he
gets
did it
off
for,
on
like, literally just no reason. I also thought it was very funny that he just always has his mask, like, on him,
I
like, ready to go.
Like, it's what? Like, it's like growing out the back of his, like, neck crevice or something? Like, how did he get it on...
It was just in the back
Is
of
it
his
like a
neck
hood?
somewhere. Yeah.
He has, like, a contraption.
So here's the thing. I'm pretty sure he knew he was going to get attacked tonight because he knows Duncan well enough to know that this was going to happen. So he brought the mask with him on purpose.
Very funny to me.
I also like that frame, like, when he's, like, mid pulling on the mask and it's, like, only halfway on. You can only see, like, the whites of his eyes and, like, the girls next to him looking very confused.
But okay. So he does that. And now, of course, he's made his largest mistake. Which, to be fair, he had no idea was a mistake.
You never expect Demona.
Because, of course, now Demona is interested. She stands up, like, staring. And she's in this most ominous lighting possible. With this, like, blood red lighting up her in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got a mace, too. Now. And it's just like, oh, you'll regret that bravado, Hunter. She swoops down just as Macbeth's about to get stabbed, of course. Shoves him out of the way full force and parries the sword blow with her mace. Still laughing, Hunter? Because now, of course, she knows who he is, and he knows she knows who he is.
They know. Oh, they know.
They know.
And it's on now.
There's knowing
And she's got those bright glowing red eyes. Come, meet your doom. Or that's from her. Come, meet your doom. And he's like, at last, an adversary worthy of my skills. Because up till now, it's just been play fighting.
It's just been like fucking like idiots. It's just like having this like lovers quarrel over
Yeah.
like the dead dad or whatever.
Yeah. So like she's the one he actually takes seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know,
Trauma.
Because it's Demona.
yeah. He's like, you want her? Take her. And just tosses Grurok at Demona. Demona proceeds to just take words, one hand, and bash her and throw her away.
What the
It doesn't stop
She's
her
like
at all.
a fucking ping pong ball right now!
No, keep in mind, this is the second time in 2 episodes that this exact interaction has happened.
This is
last episode.
Well, last time it was Macbeth, whom Demona was like, why would I care about him?
And then
just,
tail
like,
whipped him.
tail lashed him.
Okay, but why is this the clumsiest fucking bitch ever, like, all of a sudden? Like, she's just, like, goes... She goes from one person to the other to, like, over the fucking, like, edge of the fucking castle.
Why her and Macbeth are a perfect pair, because Macbeth did the exact same thing last episode.
They're both
Okay,
damsels.
well, you know what? They both deserve to go
They deserve
over.
each other,
They
yes.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, it is so funny, though, just watching Demona, like, just so casually, like, bat Gruach off the castle. Like, okay, also, why does Gilton Dane think that Demona would, like, care about Gruach?
Oh, he doesn't. The you want her, take her was to Macbeth, but he threw Grurok at Demona to try and get Macbeth to get in Demona's way when he went to attack her.
Okay.
But she didn't let that happen. She bashed her
Yeah,
away
because
before
she's
Macbeth
just
could get
like-
in the way.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But it's so funny.
There's, like, technicalities.
Anyways, so of course we see Grurok go like almost over the edge, and Macbeth catches her and is like almost on the edge of being pulled off too, and we cut to a commercial break.
And...
Because back then TV shows were written around commercial breaks.
Yeah, but we have to have 2 cliffhangers every episode.
Literal ones in this case.
Yes, literally.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Okay, so when we come back, I just find out where my notes are, sorry.
Okay, so that was That was a lot.
I'm gonna take a quick drink, actually.
That's probably a good call.
Wet my whistle.
Oh, you put your drink there.
Yeah.
That's clever. It's like, I didn't even notice it was there. It was like hiding.
That's where my nail clippers went.
That's where they are.
Sorry.
It's fine. Okay, so...
Okay. So Macbeth, he runs over, grabs Gruart's hands, and like we've been here before, this is just the previous episode in reverse. But unlike Gruart, Macbeth is able to pull someone back onto a roof. So he does so, but like only after like an appropriate time allotted for dramatic pet peril.
Yeah.
Or like we don't know if he's going to be able to do it, and we're like, but then he's like, obviously he can't, because he's like a strong, muscular man.
Yeah, but
so
unlike Gruart, who was like a 14-year-old
They needed
girl.
the time so that they could hover over the shot of Macbeth flexing his muscular calves as he tried to lift her up. He does.
So, but while the two of them are doing that, like, Damona's just beating the shit out of Giltamjane, like, on the side, like...
Well, yeah.
He says something like how it's gonna be your last night, monster, but she just picks up this massive torch and starts, like, beating him with it, and, like, she pushes him, like, against the side of the battlement, so, like, now, like, he's also, like, in danger of hanging down, and then she rips his mask off, because she's also a drama queen, and he just says, "Look closely, creature, 'tis your handiwork. Done when I was but a boy. Remember?" And Damona just says, "No."
I love it!
And he looked so mad.
Oh my god.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, I wrote that
Do you
down!
have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
It's so good.
Oh my god.
So Giltamjane is like so mad about that. Like, so like he grabs her, and now like they're both falling off the castle. He's like, "Okay, bitch, like then we're both gonna die now." But Macbeth goes to check on them, and he sees that Damona's like clinging to like the side of the wall. Giltamjane's like hanging off her legs. And just as Damona is falling, Macbeth rescues her. He grabs her hand. So like this is like the start. This is the start of their romance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As a diehard Macbeth Damona shipper, like this is where it really begins.
Mm-hmm.
But Giltamjane is like he's still hanging onto Damona, and like it looks like he tries like push off the wall with his legs, like to make Damona like fall, but like he still wants her and him to both die. But then Damona's just like, "Will you like get off me?" He's like, she like tail whips him in the face, which makes him fall, and like he definitely is dead after he falls.
This is the second episode in a row where Damona tail whips someone.
Yeah, that tail video worked out.
Yeah.
So Macbeth pulls Damona like back up, and to give Damona credit, she does thank him for saving her life. And he tells her that he owes her. To which Damona says, "Then we're even. Good." And she just immediately is like gone. She flies away. She doesn't like hanging around these two humans she's leaving behind. Like they give her feelings. She doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So then we cut from there directly to Macbeth and Gruart's wedding. It's their second wedding of the episode. Everyone's like, it looks like the whole castle's come out. They're wearing their best silly hats.
Yeah.
And honestly, this looks like really nice. It's an evening wedding. It's in the castle. Like you get these wonderful like reds and oranges from the sun. And we see the weird sisters. They precede everyone in the wedding party. They're each holding a single candle. And then Gruart's hot dad comes out. He announces their marriage. Everyone cheers. Pink petals float down from like the sky.
I like just like the stock sounds of the people cheering. Like they're like happy. They sound like they're trying to be happy, but they're not sure what to be happy about.
They're just like, yeah, huzzah!
They're like, yay, yay, over and over. It's so funny.
Also, we should mention, I don't think we've mentioned how weird Gruart's dad looks.
Yeah.
In this episode. Like,
No, that scene specifically, like, he just, so he kept his ginger appearance, but like his eyebrows and his mustache are like dyed like pure white.
Like only his eyebrows and mustache.
Yeah, it looks like
his rest of his
he
very
took like
large
three.
beard and
It
long
looks like he
hair.
took like 3 hairy caterpillars and just put them on his face.
And like, I get what they were going for because I have seen people who have different
Like,
eyebrow.
I
and
feel like in his case,
like
it's
hair
more
color.
It should be, like-
dramatic than it normally is.
Like,
yeah, but like it was so strong because like his hair is just a single color,
yeah.
and because of that, there's no blending, and it just looks really.
Yeah, I think what they wanted to do was they wanted to make it look like tips were like graying maybe, but like instead they just decided, no, that's too much budget. Like we have to put the focus on like the action sequences. We're just gonna like splash some like paint bucket color on his mustache and eyebrows, call it a day.
That's all you gotta do. It's a cartoon. This episode doesn't have a high animation budget. It's
No,
fine.
it does not.
So the wedding, however, does look fantastic. But then our view shifts to this one tower where we see glowering down at everyone our good friend Prince Duncan, who's just looks so pissed, and he's holding his baby.
Is this like the Michael Jackson?
This is the
shot?
Michael Jackson shot where
Where
you
he's,
were
like,
like, he's
holding-
gonna just hold the baby.
He's holding his baby
Yeah.
at the balcony.
Yeah, and in case it wasn't clear before, this is yet another sign to the viewer that Duncan did not want Macbeth to actually succeed in killing Gilcomgate.
Well, then he shouldn't have assigned him this assassination task. Like, you don't set someone to kill someone else unless you are sure that they won't succeed.
Well, okay, look at what happened. If Demora hadn't been there, was there any chance in hell of it not working?
But that's my point. Like, in an assassination, you always have to account, like, weird shit could happen. You need to be absolutely sure of the
but
circumstances.
but
Duncan's not an
Duncan's-
assassin. He's a fucking.
He's
But
an
Duncan's
idiot.
a political idiot. The proper assassin is, freaking Gilcomgate, who said, no, we can't account for all the variables, let's not do this.
Mhm.
Gilcomgate warned him, and he wanted to be like a bratty sub drama queen girl, and did it
Yeah.
anyways, thinking it would work out, and it
Yeah.
didn't work out. And now he's like, well, shit.
And look, when you act too bratty without proper... they didn't have a safe word. I don't think,
Let
for the
this
little
be
role
a
play.
message
This
for
is what happens.
brats in training.
Yeah.
That you should not go against your master's like word or like code of conduct, or else then a gargoyle girl will come in and then just like tail whip him off like a cliff or some shit.
Yeah, a bigger Dom will show up, in this case Demona, who is the biggest
Yes,
Dom of all.
no one can compare. Like Gilcomgate was like above everyone else, but Demona's just like a step up above him. So it's like, there you go.
So Prince Duncan, he's holding his baby. I still don't know
His ugly
what
ass
happened to
baby.
the mother. Maybe someday we'll learn. Maybe he killed her. I don't know. But he says, there will always be a hunter, my son. And he takes, like, the hunter mask back out, and I thought he was trying to put the hunter mask over the baby's head. But he doesn't do... But it's what it looks like he's going to do. So, like, I have several sentences
We have
of
to
my
hide
notes that are
the
like,
woe,
why are you doing that?
ugliness.
Even though he, like, doesn't actually do it, but, like, I thought
Because
he
it's
was.
an ugly fucking baby. I would put a mask on it too.
So, okay, I would just like to point out
It's
when
like
it comes
Wilbur.
to the mother, my personal theory is that he married someone, had her live in her own castle, and it's just a political marriage, and then he gets to sleep with Gilcomgate.
Yeah, that makes
Okay,
sense.
well, Prince Duncan is an actual historical person.
No.
I'm sure we can look up who his wife was.
What if Duncan had like a cuckold thing, and it's like the baby's actually Gilcomgate's baby, because like he watched Gilcomgate like fuck his wife because that's what turned him on.
Okay.
And then like the son is, that's why he said like there must always be a hunter, is because the son is actually Gilcomgate's son. Mission
Halfway through your explanation, I thought what you were going to say was that Gilcomgate and Duncan had the baby together, because earlier I said it was an M-preg baby.
we already established that.
I mean, we already established that suggestion.
Yeah, but I'm throwing out a new possibility that they had this cuckolded surrogate weird pregnancy thing going on, and the baby's actually biologically Gilcomgate's. So I'm just, that's my theory.
Anyway, the Weird Sisters are also here in this tower, even though we just saw them like 2 seconds ago at the wedding. And he hands the baby over to them, and then he puts the mask on himself, and it's very foreboding. But then wavy lines appear, and flashback is over now. We're back to New York. We see Goliath in Brooklyn finding a bunch of smashed up pieces of stone, which are formerly people, and they're both like very freaked out about it. Brooklyn has a line where he says something like, "It's like the massacre at Castle Wyvern," which is like, yeah,
that's
like, we
what
get
they're trying to hone in.
More reflection.
That's why they gave Demona like a spiky mace when she was smashing
the same
people.
Mace. Yeah.
Where did she get it again?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but she has it for symbolism purposes.
So I looked it up.
You looked up Prince Duncan's wife? So,
according all the earliest and most historical sources give no listing of him ever having a wife.
That's so funny.
He's gay.
During later retellings, he's either given 1 or 2 wives for his 2 children. Mm-hmm. We know he did have children, but no mention of his wife. Is actually necessarily
It's so
there.
funny that the Gargoyle production team was like, well, we don't know who his wife was, so we just won't include anyone in this episode. Like, they didn't want to make up a wife for anyone.
They just imply
he's listed as having 3 different wives depending on which version of the story you read. But they're all supposedly historically accurate, but we don't know.
The show just keeps showing him with his baby, and there's no wife, and then he's talking with Gokongin all the time. It's like, what is that supposed to imply?
It implies that they're gay, because they are gay.
No, he had a butt baby with Gokongin, I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So, Goliath is also, traumatized by this. He says, has Demona learned nothing? Every life is precious, which is, the most twee thing he's ever said. But, it's fine.
Twee?
Yes, it's twee.
What is twee?
You know what twee means.
No, I don't. I've never heard this before.
Look it up.
Oh, no. I'm afraid.
But then, as Goliath is walking, he sees a set of 3 statues. And he's like, wait, I recognize these. It's the 3 little girls from that hostage situation he was involved in, the other night.
The Fever Dream one.
Yeah, only each of them are holding their own baby now, too. And then suddenly they all just start talking, because of course they do. They say, yes, she must be stopped. But remember your own words, Goliath. Every life is precious. Take care not to become what you fight against. Vengeance begets nothing but a vicious cycle of further vengeance. Which is, it's nice when characters just, tell you the theme of the episode they're in.
Well, they're weird. So.
They are weird, aren't they? So
just do that.
Brooklyn's just what the fuck? And, he goes over and touches one, which then immediately crumbles, and, the others also crumble. Mm-hmm. And July's just okay. And he just starts walking, he doesn't say anything, he's just great, more weird things are happening.
If you haven't noticed, the Weird Sisters have, a mundane shield to them, where anyone who interacts with them doesn't pick up on how weird they are.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not there for Goliath, though. Just before the whole clan was that was weird. What the fuck was up with that?
Well, but...
It worked on Brennan and Margot, but they didn't have it up for the Gargoyles.
But it's not that... Well, with Brennan and Margot, they couldn't even see them. But I'm talking about, these 3 gargoyles show up out of nowhere, years apart and don't age, and no one in Demona's clan questions it. We see them show up as nursemaids when they're not on Duncan's staff, and no one questions it.
Well, there's also the question of if what we are seeing as we watch the episode is what the other characters are seeing too.
Yeah. So I looked up the definition for twee.
Oh no.
It means excessively or effectively quaint, pretty, or sentimental. An example, although the film's
as an example, twee, every life is precious.
It's watchable. Adjective twee, comparative adjective tweer, superlative adjective twee.
We don't need to do every form of the word.
Twee-ass.
Okay, well now that we've told our listeners everything about twee,
please,
the more you know.
Yeah. At Pack Media Studios, Demona has now arrived with her mace. She sees Owen, statue Owen, and is like, I guess I'll kill him. But then just as she's going to, Xanatos is like, hold it right there. And, like, he comes in, smashes, like, the switchboard controlling the broadcast with, like, the butt of his laser gun. And we see, like, the TV screen, like, turn to static.
He's been smashing butts in PAC Studios, you know what I'm saying.
And he says her show is canceled.
Dude, that's wild.
So they have a stupid fight. Demona, like, hits him with her mace. He shoots at her with his laser. Like, it's the usual routine with these two.
Okay, no, I'm gonna let you get to it.
Okay, but it's over when she bumps into the statue of Owen, and then Xanatos has to, like, leap underneath the statue to, like, keep it from breaking.
He
on
literally
the floor.
stops everything he's doing in the fight
Yeah.
to literally, like, he's shocked, he's leaping in, and he's making sure that Owen is intact.
He's gotta make
he
sure his
needs to
boyfriend is
protect his service twink.
He loves Owen.
Yeah, like, it was honestly kind of heartwarming just seeing how far Xanatos just went straight without a single thought to protect Owen.
Yeah.
See, Fox isn't the only person he, quote, loves, unquote.
So then, like, the statue is, like, on top of him, and this was the funniest part of the episode for me. Okay, he doesn't just, like, get out from underneath the statue and, like, leave it where he is. He needs to set Owen back on his feet. Like, standing, like, on his 2 feet. Which takes him, like, a while to do.
Yeah, they focused a few seconds on that.
Demona just stands there waiting for the moment that
Okay, I feel like she waited a while. Like, she waited until,
What
like,
is she
it was
doing?
back, and then she was like, okay, now I can tackle you.
Like, she literally stood there
It was
waiting
a
for the moment he was upright.
Oh, she didn't do it because it was a gesture of love. And it made her feel weird.
I think she also just likes Owen.
But she was gonna kill him a second ago!
She was thinking about it, but then she said,
It was,
you know what, I
love
like him.
is the only way
Like-
to clear the beast. I was going somewhere with that.
I don't know where anything is going.
I'm losing my fucking mind right now.
See, Demona will swing back and forth between, I'll kill you, and you're actually a tolerable human on the flip of a coin.
Yeah, no.
She has fluctuations.
The only,
Yeah.
like, we've seen these vulnerable moments in the moment where, like, Macbeth goes out of his way to, like, lower his defenses and protect someone else, and I guess that's what Xanatos is doing here. So I guess that might be, in my opinion, why she might have hesitated before she decided to blast them.
That is true. Like, that is a recurring theme in these last couple episodes, is that she does change how she's acting every time she sees someone
care.
do that.
Yeah, but as she and Xanatos continue to fight, they're interrupted by Dilkemdane. I mean, by Prince Duncan. I mean, someone mysterious
Who
wearing
is
the
he?
hunter mask.
Oh my
bursts
gosh,
in.
I can't recognize, like, the latex jumpsuit he's in and the trench coat.
Who is this?
Sexy
But
man.
Demona just says, "The hunter. How many times must I destroy you?" And so she jumps, like, onto the hunter. They wrestle for a long time, like, sexually. But he pulls out this electro gun, which I feel like we've seen somebody use before on this show.
Yeah, who uses electro gun magnet
Who
technology.
introduced Brooklyn to his electro kink.
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
But he shoots Demona with it. She, like, moans sexually, because everything is vaguely sexual on this show.
And then he moaned sexually.
Yeah, he also moans sexually. Somewhere Brooklyn just, like, the biggest boner he's ever had. He doesn't know why.
I'm not sure why, but I've just come to loincloth. Or pants. I couldn't say pant because he wears a loincloth.
But yeah, the hunter also seems to react for some reason. And that's when Demona, like, recognizes who it is.
Yeah.
She says, "It's you. Don't you ever give up."
But I love how her entire mannerisms change from that moment on.
Yeah.
Like, at first she thought it was, you know who. But then...
I don't know. Who the fuck did she think it was? The Canmore
Yes.
siblings?
Yeah.
Okay.
She thinks it's the Canmores, who she hates.
Yeah.
Well,
But then she-
for
then-
good reason. They're
but-
pretty hateable.
But then she finds it's just Macbeth
Oh,
messing with her. And she's like,
It's
oh,
him.
whatever.
It's my ex. He's here. He
And
still
then she
has
just
a
goes back
hate
to-
on
to
for
mess-
me.
He's
Toying
wearing,
around.
like, this symbol of hatred that we both have recognized to, like, just do this dramatic way of, like, okay, yeah, it's a breakup. I get it.
Oh, it's a breakup.
It's a breakup.
It's-
There's still unresolved tension between these two. That's what he's doing.
But
and
yeah,
she's
like,
I'm so above this.
The mask has so much meaning, like, to both of them by this point.
Yeah,
like, Macbeth wearing it, like, sends a message
Yeah.
for this. So she runs out. She runs onto the roof, and she's just like flying off. When he has like this special like
It's weird.
ankle bondage gun that he uses on her. Like it shoots like it's very Batman. So like then they spend like 5 minutes of him like pulling her down with like this tether that he has attached to her, and she like is swooping around. She like hits him. He hits her. Like she gets her leg free eventually. Like by she just like slashes like the actual cable attached to her.
Yeah.
And then she's flying away again. Only he jumps like off the building, onto her. And then he's riding her like she's an airplane. He's making like airplane noises as she's flying around.
I like just like how it's just like she's trying to like fly away from like the Pac Media Studios, and it's just like this screenshot of just her like T-posing through the air with like Macbeth in a mask on her back in front of Pac Media Studios is just too much for me.
Yeah, because almost every flying shot in this episode is just like the characters as static images panning and zooming on them as they move through the air.
They can barely animate this episode.
It's like very meme-worthy, all the frames of her flying, I think.
Back in the studio, Xanatos finally like does stop the broadcast. So back down in the studio, Xanatos finally stops the broadcast for good, and he's like, okay, so like that'll fix things, right? Except Owen is still a statue. So Xanatos is like, okay, on to plan E or F or G or whichever one I'm on this time. Back up in the air, Damona and Macbeth, they're still flying. They made it very high somehow, despite being able to only glide. But we spend like a while just watching her like slam. Did I say Macbeth? I meant the Hunter, of course.
We're not even hiding
into various buildings, like trying to like get him off of her. But every time she does, she also reacts in pain because it's hurting her too. Almost like there's some weird magical link between them. I'm just spitballing here. But eventually she does detach him, and he like falls onto a balcony, and she flies away screaming like she always does.
Like a literal BNG.
Yes, and he says, "You won't lose me that easily." And he calls his spaceship down. So like the chase, it's on. Back at Pac Media Studios again, Goliath and Brooklyn show up, and Xanatos just like poses sexually, like leaning against. Then he's like, the cavalry arrives, and he fills them in what happened with Damona and like some mysterious hunter who showed up, and Goliath is so pissed. He's like, so you were partners in this sorcery, and Xanatos is just like, yes, and Goliath calls it. He's like, you fool, which shows that like he's been hanging around Damona lately, not like he's calling people fools.
Yeah.
And he says like he ought to make Xanatos pay for all the lives Damona has destroyed. And Xanatos is like, he's such a little bitch. He's like, do you want vengeance or do you want a solution? And he twirls his villain mustache as he says it. Like, I hate him. Like, he's so annoying. And I want Goliath to, like, get vengeance and get a solution at the same time. But whatever, he's like, okay. So Xanatos says this is bigger than anything either of us have ever faced. We'll have to work together to stop her. Truce. And he holds out his hand, and Goliath is like, I know I'm going to regret this. But he agrees, and they hold hands. I mean, they shake hands. I mean, they touch tips. I mean, they do something.
Okay, Goliath,
they have an
touch
alliance.
dicks.
They have some sort of sexual understanding with each other.
They exposed each other's penises to each other and made a binding contract written in cum.
Yes.
And that is our cliffhanger for the week.
To be continued.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Because, the freaking Xanatos and the Gargoyles working together is so shocking. It's a fully cliffhanger.
It's never happened before.
It's never... I'm like shocked. Like, it's all over me right now. I'm shocked.
We were all shocked.
Okay, so, wow, what an episode.
City of Stone Part 2.
City of Stone Part 2. It was wild.
I think I like this episode better than the last one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the last one a lot too, but I like this one even more.
This one was way better than the last one. I was mostly bored with like the.
Maybe
the
it was just
focus
more
on
fun
the-
to review this one. Maybe
This one was significantly more fun to review because the first one just has so much
Yeah, like what
dry section,
like the
'Cause they have-
politics of Macbeth's castle or whatever.
which like you know the thing is the politics become much more interesting
No,
in every
they
future
do.
part. It's just that first part is
Is that
just,
first part
Like I
we
understood
spent
the
so
politics.
much
we're
time.
introduced to the world when it's normal and things aren't going to shit, so it's like that's
So
when
it's
it's at
more
its most boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching Macbeth and Grot make like weird staring at each other over the chessboard can like only get us so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but yeah, this episode I think was a lot more action packed. A lot of more stuff happened in it.
Plus, we got the famous scene of Demona destroying statues.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty iconic.
That's that stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, okay, so what are we doing? Are we doing ratings
Okay,
right
yeah,
now?
rate
some
this.
ratings.
Okay, yeah, I don't give it a 5 out of 5 again. I think I did the last one. Wait, did I give the last one a 4.5?
You gave the last one a 4.5.
Actually, yeah, I started as a 5, and then like as I was reviewing it, like I was like, I actually don't like this episode as much anymore.
Yeah.
This one was fun. This one stays at a
Yeah.
5. This is an example of a perfect episode. It's
I
great.
mean, I'll give it a 5, but I will say it's not quite perfect because, oh my god, is the animation.
The
The
animation
animation
is shit.
is kind of bad.
Okay, but I'm glad that I could be a not shallow person for once. Because normally
Yeah.
you both have called me on like putting so much stock into the animation. This time, I love this episode despite the
Yeah,
poor,
I think
shitty
I can acknowledge
animation.
that too.
I
Yeah.
think just the story and the characters and like the pacing is like excellent.
Oh,
in
with-
this
I
episode.
will
without a
also
doubt.
point out in the episode's defense that there's a couple good animated scenes in it. The one of Demona smashing the statues is beautifully animated, and where like 90% of the episode's budget went, rightfully. And the scene of Macbeth and Demona fighting Gilgamesh is decently well animated. Gilcum Game, sorry.
Okay, I've almost made that mistake like several times
Yes.
because they both start with Gil, and I'm thinking of Gilgamesh as Gilly
Gilly,
was in the
yeah.
episode.
Oh my god.
I would love if they find Gilgamesh one day and on their world tour, Gilgamesh's Day with Enkidu.
But yeah, they definitely limited their had limited budget for this episode, but they made it count by putting it in the two most important places.
Yeah, and generally Gargoyles is very good about spending their money like where it counts. Generally, so
Yeah.
they do
I
good
can
in that
see it.
way.
Yeah, I'm also feeling inclined to give this a 5 out of 5.
I was also planning on that.
Oh, I
It's
thought
like-
you already said that.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's no wasted moments in this, and like, but it also doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like what was that other episode? Shit, my mind is blanking.
Yeah.
Xanatos and Fox's wedding episode, where
Oh,
it felt
that
like
was-
they packed like 3 times as much
Yeah.
into that episode as they should have. Like this one feels like it's at the pacing it should be.
Like, this
it's
isn't-
good pacing.
Well, I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
This isn't like time travel nonsense, though. I like it because it's like there's 2 different stories that are connected linearly. There's one in the past and there's one in the future. That's pretty easy to understand.
Also, they don't flip back and forth like 100 times like
No.
they do in part 1 of City and Stone. There's one big flashback, and then they just stay like in the time period after
Yeah.
that, which I also appreciated for note taking because that was a lot last time, going back and forth every 5 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Ugh, yeah.
So I would like to point out that this episode, as I mentioned last time, was originally planned as a TV movie.
Yeah.
So that's part of why the pacing is much better. Whereas Vows, they wrote it; it was supposed to be a 1 episode thing, and then they like realized while they were writing it, they're like, "Oh, we can add this and this and this," and they got to the end of it, and we're like, "This is really good, but we only have 1 episode.
It's like they wrote it over a weekend.
Yeah. It's
We
wild.
can't cut any of this, so screw it. We'll just go ham."
I
But
think
it should have been a
Like, I love the episode, like, partly because it's paced so insanely, but, like, oh my gosh.
I think with Gargoyles, it's such a you know, it has so much ambition and passion in, like, the story it wants to tell. Like, it actually gives a shit, is what it is. But the thing is, it's like they're not given a lot of, like, leg room to want to explore all the things they want to explore. You know, like you would with, like, a comic series, for example, or, like, a book series, or... They were given a certain amount of time, and then they were given more time without expecting it.
Their episode count kept changing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when your episode count goes from 13 to 20 to 26 to 52 episodes in the span of 2 months...
That can put anyone into...
And now you're starting the actual series order 2 months later than you were supposed to for the original 13 episodes.
Yeah.
It's an absolute wonder what they did, but yeah, like, you can definitely tell where that hurt most, which was the World Tour got the short end of the stick.
I can't wait for the World Tour, the never-ending World Tour.
The World Tour was
for it.
The World Tour was not supposed to be this season.
I would love to cover all 80 episodes of the World Tour and just... In fact, as we go, let's see... Okay, this will be fun. As we start the World Tour and go through it, what if we cover an episode that we make up and see if anyone listening, like, even realizes? There's so many fucking episodes of that.
Yo,
and I myself have forgotten, like, half of them.
Oh my god.
Because they're, like, boring to me. And it just goes on for so long. Okay, we have to do this.
We'll have, like...
It'll be a special bonus episode.
This will be interesting. We could, like, type up, like, a fan fiction and make it... We'll treat it like it's a real episode. And then we'll just, like, talk about it. And we're like, yeah, I'm not sure why they decided to do that. But it was kind of weird, you know? I can't believe, like, Goliath kissed, like, Hudson right on the butthole, like, in front of everybody. That was kind of
Okay, I feel like it would be pretty easy to determine which is the fate episode.
Yeah. No, we gotta make it to where it's, like, challenging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, alrighty. What do I have for, sexiest animator moment?
I forgot that we do that, and I didn't write anything down. But I think it's because nothing sexy really happened in this episode.
Okay, so there are several things that happened in this episode that were sexy, au contraire, mon frere.
Okay.
Okay, so, I only had 2 things written down, but the more we talked about it, I think a lot of the fight scenes are very sexually charged in terms of, like, dominance and submission. You know, obviously with Gilcom Gain and Macbeth, and then, you know, Demona and Gilcom Gain, and then Macbeth and Demona at the end of the episode. That was a very sexually charged fight scene. Very weirdly kinky as well.
Okay, there was a part where they were, like, just, like, rolling with each other. Was that Demona and Macbeth in that part? I don't even remember.
They
who
were
she was
both
wrestling with.
fully aroused during that fight scene.
But, like, yeah, her and Macbeth's fights are always kind of kinky, because they can feel everything the other one can. So they're both, like... constantly moaning basically through their entire fights.
It's wild.
I love their I love every episode of these two in it, like, after this point, because they're all so fucking good.
But personally for me, the sexiest moment of this episode is either the Hudson and Robin's ass slap.
Oh, I forgot about that!
It was gonna be that.
I forgot about that happened.
Or the fucking Macbeth flexing his calves to help, like, women up from falling to their death.
Okay.
Definitely the ass slap.
Those are 2 good moments. I will also put forth when Prince Duncan puts his feet on the table.
Oh my god. I actually forgot about
shows,
that.
Like, that. It's a boot fetish, it's a foot fetish. Someone out there will like it.
I was having thoughts when we were describing that. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, no, I might have to just give it to the Hudson Robbins.
Now that you brought it up, I can't believe I forgot about that. That has my vote too.
Okay.
And then gayest characters next, I believe.
Okay, so I originally had an original idea for gayest characters, but now that there's, like, every other fucking fight scene in Equation with all the fucking medieval people, I can't even deal with the amount of gay they were serving up. Like, Gilcom Gain, Duncan, they're very high contenders.
I would love to point out that before we watched this episode this time, I never had any, like, sort of, like, gay thoughts about Gilcomgane or
Okay,
Duncan.
It
But then-
explains their
Yeah.
behavior.
But then
It
I'm
explains their behavior a little bit.
I started talking about it just as a joke, and then it's like, oh wait, now I'm fully sold
Okay.
on everything I'm saying.
Okay, so there are two other teams I want to propose that I originally had written down. So what I just established was Gilgamane and Duncan, and then there's also Hudson and Jeffrey Robbins,
Yes, of course.
or Xanatos and Owen.
Mm-hmm.
For the way Xanatos threw himself at Owen and tried to prop up the statue.
He saved his boyfriend, and he was also very gay at the end of the Goliath too.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, it's just that one moment. It's significant, yes, and it's worth noting in both Xanatos' character and his entire relationship with the Owen, but I just don't feel like it's enough to like win the round for this one, and I feel like we took up a lot of focus on Gilcomane and Duncan's subtext, which that did take a while in this episode. I don't give a shit about either of them because they're both terrible people, but like it's funny because that's just how you read it. And Duncan's just like the bratty bottom the entire time, just going up against like everything Gilcomane tells him not to do. So he has my contender right now. It's either between him or just like, you know, like Hudson and Jeffrey Robbins, which are, you know, they're perfect. I love them. I want them to flourish.
Sweet cinnamon rolls.
Oh,
Beautiful.
God.
Yeah,
But
those are who I have written down too, and like, for me, I'd probably give it Duncan and Gilcomgane today, if only because this will be our last opportunity to do so, because Gilcomgane is now dead.
Yeah.
And we already gave it previously to Jeffrey in the past. I know we got hit in his other episode.
Yeah, we did give it to
But
him.
just let it be known, he is still very gay with Hudson, and we both love him.
Yes.
And he is our favorite character.
Yes.
And we adore him.
Yeah, I'm also in agreement. So.
Okay, looks like that's settled. And lastly, do we have any emails?
I have not checked. I know we have one email that actually my friend Naki sent to me.
Oh!
His first time emailing us.
He just so happened to watch this episode today before we even announced we were going to be recording.
I don't think he actually listens to our podcast, but we share a Telegram group, and he actually mentioned he very weirdly mentioned he was watching this exact same episode as I was also watching it, and I'm taking my notes. I was funny. Like, wow, well, if you want to like send me a message about it, I'll read it on my podcast. And he was like, okay.
It sounds like such a Mackie response.
Yeah.
Let me find it. He's okay.
I'm interested in this too.
So he writes, I was rewatching Gargoyles again, and man, City of Stone was a lot darker than I remembered. In my childhood memories, Demona was defeated before she killed anyone. So imagine my surprise on rewatching it when I see her literally blowing up statues, including a woman's arms. Which, yeah.
The Nancy woman with the no arms.
Also, it's implied she broke a lot of statues before that, so she could have killed like dozens of humans. Pretty dark for a 90s cartoon show, especially one from Disney. I think this episode is one of the first to show the different kinds of evil between Demona and Xanatos. Xanatos is like a shark, an immoral guy who won't stop for anything to achieve his goals. But he still has some lines he won't cross, and some sort of twisted sense of honor to him. Demona, on the other hand, is entirely driven by revenge against humanity, and she won't stop for anything or anyone. Also, revenge is Demona's only goal. Xanatos basically wants to live life to the fullest, and he doesn't want death to, like, put an end to that. So, like, that's why he does most of what he does. Whereas Demona, she only lives for vengeance. And she has the option, she had the option back in Awakening to live with her clan again, but her hatred, like, cost her that, and so now revenge is the only thing she has left. Perhaps in the future, Angela can help her come out of it, because Angela might be the only person she still does love, like, in any sense. But it seems likely that she'll continue to choose revenge over her daughter. And this ep is the first one to really show, like, the depth of Demona's hatred. And one last thing, it's interesting that usually in a Disney property, like a villain like Demona will be killed at some point, via her hubris or whatever. But instead, for this story, it repeatedly gives her opportunities to reform, opportunities that Demona burns every time she's given it. So, yeah, I thought that was actually a very...
Damn.
I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head with
Yeah,
a lot of his insights.
yeah, I would say so. That's very... Wow. Like, I haven't spoken to Naki, like, in personal DM. I've only ever seen him in the group chat. So to know that he's, like, also that insightful, that's
oh, yeah,
really...
he's always known what's what.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really good analogy, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually really amazing that he was able to bring that up into such a clear light. That's kind of like that darkness inside that character, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was particularly interesting when he was comparing Xanatos and Demona, and how like Xanatos, like his main goal is like to live forever and like to like have fun and like never die, whereas Demona like she only wants death for like everyone.
That's why Demona is scary, and Xanatos should just never work with her because it's never going to work out.
I don't think they're gonna work together after this episode. The honeymoon is over for them.
I mean, it's never worked out when they worked together in the past either, did it? Like with the Cold Stone thing?
She's changed. Maybe she's changed.
To be fair, they didn't betray each other in the past. Their plans just didn't work out. Like, I think this is the first time that either of them openly betrays the other.
Yeah, just, they were working together only, in vows very recently before this, and that went fine. It was fine.
It was a clusterfuck.
It was a clusterfuck, but it wasn't because they betrayed each other.
I guess.
It looks like we did get...
What the fuck is this?
Okay. What?
What the fuck is this?
Okay, well this isn't an email for us to read, it looks like, but someone has gotten the famous "Let a Gargoyle Sit on Your Face" shirt from Jaws. I think Jaws 2 or Jaws 3. And actually they're offering to send it to us, which this might be the nicest thing anyone has ever done. Okay. So I will address this to the person who sent this email to us. First of all, thank you so much. I love this. I already have this shirt. Because Hiron got it for me.
I also have this shirt because the first one I got him was the wrong size, so I got it for him again.
So actually, okay, so Sid needs... If you want, you can send Sid a shirt.
Yes.
The two of us don't need one, but Sid needs one. And then we can all wear them in public together. We can go to the mall in our matching Let a Gargoyle Sit on Your Face shirts.
I don't know.
But thank you so much. I don't want to say this person's name because it looks like that might be their actual name.
Yeah, it looks like they just took a picture of themselves wearing the shirt and sent us an email.
Thank you, though. And please email us again anytime you want. But yeah, it looks like that is the only email we've received.
Okay.
Remy will just have to send an extra long one next time.
Yeah.
For part 3.
Yeah. Because hopefully by part 3, we'll actually have everything posted, because we're going to be unavailable for recording for a bit. So
yeah, I have family coming over, so like we won't be able to record anyway for some time.
So this weekend is perfect because it gives me the time to edit both those episodes and put them up.
Yep.
Nice.
Alrighty, so I think that is it for this show then. We have been talking for a little over 2 hours now about this. I'm Sydney.
I'm Iran.
I'm Manicorn. You can follow me on the Spankacorn on Twitter, Croup on For Affinity, Manicorn on Archive of Her Own, mailspank.net, Patreon. You can follow the Loincloth Patreon, which is, I believe, the Loincloth Hour. Patreon.com. Patreon.com/the Loincloth Hour. We have a YouTube channel for the Loincloth Hour, which you should also follow.
If you're not watching it through that.
If you're not, listening to it right now. And, would you guys like to give your plugs? I thought we were doing plugs, so I just gave mine.
No, we were. I'm Huron. You can find me on FA or Twitter as Pangolin_Huron.
You're not that on FA.
On FA, I'm 13333, and I will be so glad for the day when they let us change that.
An unforgettable name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I keep considering making a new thing and importing my entire archive, but it's so much work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. I'm also Pangolin Huron on Archive of Our Own. That's where I am.
Yeah. Follow his stuff and read his sexy stories.
Absolutely.
I need to actually post some of.
And I'm on Twitter at SidScripts. I'm on for Affinity at Alistair Alderman, which is not my name, and I've never gone by that name in my life. I don't know why I made that my account name.
FA, we tell you this every time. Please let us change our names.
Let us change your shit. Like, what, you want like $1 or something?
I will give you $1 if you let us change our names.
We'll each give you $1 from each of us. That's $3.
buckaroos.
He didn't even like agree to it, but I know that he would do it.
We're saying it for
We're
him.
saying it for it.
We're
Okay,
giving
so
FA $1.
yeah, for Affinity, Twitter, I have a lot of like different outlets I do, so it's like I'm not gonna link them all. So that's it. I'm done.
Find us, but not in a creepy way.
Don't. Okay, we're done. That's it.
Cut.
Cut.
So you want me to hit stop?
All of our viewers are sluts.
Don't